What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man. Obviously, apologize again to y'all who have been waiting for some videos. Over the past week, basically, it's just been busy. I've, had relatives, a lot of people over and all that type of stuff, and just been reckless and stuff going on. But we back in the grind, and, we back at it again. There's, some things that have happened, and there's things that I wanted to talk about but I didn't get a chance to get to it. Also, as well as, I had a video out, but, ready and basically uploaded, but, copyright issues again hit your boy. So that video did not get posted. So, it ended up being a week, but we back, we here, we ready to go. And, we grinding. The grind never stops. You already know. So, obviously, let's go straight right into it. And over, during this past week, Kawhi has signed with the Clippers. He's re-signed, which is obviously a great thing. A great thing. We obviously clap it up. We clap it up for Kawhi signing with the Clippers. Obviously, if y'all been following, and if you haven't, spread the word. And, again, click that notification button so you know when I'm here, because I'm here. You feel me? Again, like I said, if you know that I've been following the Clippers, and I've been kind of doing breakdowns throughout the year, especially the past basically 2 years, doing breakdowns as much as I can throughout the season. And then in playoffs, obviously, we ramp it up and we go into that context. And, obviously this year, Kawhi, and the Clippers, fought it out, went down, 2-1 or whatever the case was, and still found a way to, win the series, beating the Mavericks in the first round in the 7 games. And then, they went down 2-0. I said 2-0, 2-1. 2-0 they went down, right? And then they beat the Mavericks in 7 games, and they still even went down 3-2. So they went down 2-0, went down 3-2, still won. Then faced the Jazz, same thing. Went down, I think it was, 2-1, right? They went down 2-1. And then Kawhi gets injured, obviously, and they finish it out. They actually close it out. PG goes to work, and they close it out, and they win in 6 with that epic Game 6 comeback that they did, the Terrence Mann game, and, everybody just went to work, Reggie Jackson, etc., all of that type of stuff. So you can see that the Clippers were looking like a well-oiled machine, looking like a team that was going to, at least go to the finals, a force to be reckoned with. Then what happened? They're in the conference finals. They faced the Suns, and obviously with no Kawhi, they kind of struggled a little bit. They lost in 6 games, obviously. And, it was just a struggle. It was just a struggle, and they could have won. There's a couple games that they could have won, but they didn't, close type of games, and they didn't win it, obviously. So, they lost in 5 or 6, whatever they lost, man. It's a blur. But, they could have went to the actual finals, and it was a testament to the Clippers, just grit, their grind, the way they were able to play, have sense of urgency, just be a well-oiled machine, move the ball, hit, catch, and shoot shots, just play together, especially without Kawhi. That obviously enticed Kawhi to be like, yo, we got something special here. The fact that they made it this far without me, when you put me back in the mix, we're only gonna get better. We're only gonna groove. We're only, gonna improve and, get to that jackpot and get to the promised land. So when you look at it from that perspective, obviously you tip your hat off to Kawhi, because he could have easily left and went to a different situation. But you already know he was true to himself and true to the fact that, I already knew he was going to stay with the Clippers. I would have been surprised if he actually left, to be honest, because, he it's hard for him to kind of like, why would he jump ship when they went this far without him? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's no IQ, negative IQ. So, Kawhi's a guy that uses IQ, that kind of thinks things through properly, uses logic at hand, and plays it out properly. So if he's gonna, go to LA, go home, and have not obviously the greatest time in the bubble, but then the next year you go to the conference finals and I'm injured, that's the trajectory of only gonna improve. First, second round, now you go to the third round conference finals. Now the next year maybe go to the finals, right? So he's using IQ. That's what I do. So, I could see him staying. Not only that, they re-sign Reggie Jackson, right? They do these 1-2 moves and they still have Ibaka. Remember, Ibaka didn't even play this whole playoffs. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, they're still missing key people and they still went this far and they re-signed Batum, right? So, they still have Marcus Morris. They still have they still have all of the proper talent that were putting in work and the major talent that was putting in work. So from that perspective, man, obviously, Kawhi was going to stay. Great news that he stayed. But on to the next news with the Clippers. Now, one of the main things that obviously kind of went under the radar, but people talked about it a little bit was, in the past couple of days, maybe like around a week's time, I think shortly after Kawhi signed or right around when Kawhi signed, obviously the Clippers announced that they did a trade. They did a trade for Eric Bledsoe, right? Let's see what happened in the trade. The trade sent from the Clippers and sent Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo and Daniel Oturu to the Memphis Grizzlies for Eric Bledsoe. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, Rondo was basically unplayable, right? The Rondo impact. Remember when people told me, oh, Rondo would have this elite impact? And I said he probably will have some impact and he might look different with the Clippers, but there's potential that he might not be doing nothing because the offense that the Clippers run with their wings, the wings are the two ball handlers. The wings are the ones that kind of do the pick and roll. They're the ones that initiate everything. They're the ones that kind of play make. They shot create, like the way they score and the way the offense is run. It's two wings getting buckets through pick and roll and through isos and high posts and low posts. So when you look at it from that perspective, Rondo having the ball to run pick and roll with his center or run pick and roll with Kawhi is like, you know what I mean? The point guard is going to naturally, if you have a playmaking point guard, is going to naturally still, in those moments, have to spot up and going to be in the corner or going to be at the 45, right? So, like, the play gets initiated and gets ran through Kawhi and PG as the two wings. And I've always said that. That's why I was like, oh, this whole, they need a playmaking PG, they need a playmaker was always Cap. I told him from the beginning. And now you finally saw exactly how it played out, that the same Rondo that was, gonna get them over the hump, the same Rondo that was, you know what I mean, oh my God, just he fixed everything, he cured everything, is the same Rondo that was basically unplayable and wasn't playing that much in the playoffs and big games. Like, right, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a reason for that, because he was a playmaker, not like a shooter, not like, obviously he'll hit shots here and there, but he was a playmaker. He wasn't like a bucket getter type of PG, scoring PG, which you would need that scoring PG to play like a scorer and play more off ball. And that's what you see with Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was way more useful point guard, and he's the scoring type of point guard. And he did a lot of catch and shooting, did a lot of creating as well too, especially when Kawhi went down. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, that just showed you that whole, like, media, they just be talking, man. They just be saying anything. It was always Cap, and you heard me tell y'all from the dawn of time that shit was Cap. You know what I'm saying? So now we move past that. Obviously, again, what enables this trade, like I said, was the Reggie Jackson factor. The fact that Reggie Jackson was so dynamic in terms of just how he was playing, was a hooper, getting buckets, crucial moments, big shots, like doing it all. Not only that, he actually played solid defense. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, okay, do you really keep the ultimate 3-and-D guy that also himself too was unplayable at times too, because of the lack of, scoring and the lack of, being a threat. Like, he could catch and shoot and stuff like that, but it's not potent enough to, that sometimes they could help off of him and they could rotate and they could do those type of things, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, okay, Reggie Jackson, the fact that he snapped like this, the fact that he played up to par and showed you could play solid defense, it's like, why are we still holding on to this Patrick Beverley 3-and-D, mainly defense and some threes type of guy, right? That type of player. Like, it's just, Reggie Jackson fits. You've seen how he fit in the starting lineup. Being able to get a bucket, being able to have killing transition, being able to score the ball, like, is a necessity. And the fact that he's playing off the ball, and doing it better than the Pat Bev, shooting 40% plus from three and all that type of stuff. It's like, dog, there's not really a heavy dosage type of use that you could use for Pat Bev. Like, you know what I mean? It's getting redundant in terms of just the guards, right? Rondo, Pat Bev, and Reggie Jackson. At some point, you gotta, you gotta pull the needle, and that's what they did. They pulled the needle for two guards, shipped them away, in Rondo and Pat Bev. And Pat Bev was crucial. It's not like he wasn't a crucial player, and it's not like he wasn't a guy that was, impactful and did a lot of things in the intangibles department and was very vital. He was. But at the end of the day, it's like you have to pick and choose what's more important in terms of the hierarchy. Are we really going to keep a 3-and-D guy that does more defense and less threes but still could shoot it, Or are we going to get the guy who's a bucket getter, who's going to rise in the biggest moments, who's going to give you a outpouring of offense compared to the Pat Bev, and he's still going to play solid defense? You're going to take that guy. His playoffs proved it, which is why they re-signed him. And then now they're getting a similar type of guy like him and trading for Eric Bledsoe. So when I look at it from the Clippers' perspective, this is a win, a straight-out win from the Clippers' perspective, because Rondo was basically unplayable. You get rid of him. You shorten and tighten the rotation so more wings are able to play. Your guard isn't hella redundant, you know what I'm saying? Not only that, then Pat Bev, again, the guy who's going to be the 3-and-D or whatever the case is, also gets traded. And you bring in Eric Bledsoe, who people forget was actually first team all defense or all NBA, all NBA. All team, first team or second team all defense. He was on the defensive team. I forgot which one it was. And when he was with 2019, when he was with the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it or 2019 or 2020, either one, I'm pretty sure it was 2019. Might have been 2020. I'm tripping. But regardless, he was very recently on the all defensive teams. One of them. So when you look at it from that perspective, his defense is hella underrated. People don't pay attention to it. Not only that, he can shot create. He has improved his shooting a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, he could shot create. He could, bully his way to the paint. He's a guard that's going to score more so like similar, not the same way in terms of like Reggie Jackson, but the similar type of solid, probably better defense, but can score way more than the Pat Bev, more than a Rondo. And you don't need your point guards to be scoring. That's what I try to tell y'all. And you can see now they're finally, they bid on it in terms of getting Rondo, the Clippers. But now they're like, yo, we seen what it is. In our offense, the point guards don't need to score like that. So let's go get me a hooper, right? So when you look at it, it's just a great move from the Clippers. You add that to the mix, you still have PG. Kawhi's obviously injured, and we don't know when he's coming back. But if I had to guess, maybe beginning, next year, beginning of the year, maybe a January, February type of thing. And, you add that, and then you add so many different things. Like I said, man, that Reggie Jackson play enabled them to even do this trade. Because if Reggie Jackson didn't play as elite as he played, they probably don't do this trade, because Reggie Jackson will be, even him resigning might not even happen, because then he'll just be a role player. It's like, it's kind of like, it's just, that's how it goes. So, obviously, when you look at it, there's no way that would have happened without Eric Bledsoe. Without Reggie Jackson improving like he did. Him improving enabled this trade 100%. They weren't able to okay, we actually got our point guard. We just need a backup, or we need a starter, or whatever the case is. We don't even know how they're going to play, because Eric Bledsoe has been a starting point guard all the time. Does he come off the bench? Does he humble himself? You know what I'm saying? That's another dynamic that is questionable, and you have to apply it to the mix. But overall, this, offense, like I said, this trade is a win for the Clippers, because, again, what it brings offensively. Defensively, when they try, and they'll be on a string. They'll be good. You've seen it. They have moments where they have bad defense, but moments when they have great defense, and it doesn't take, it doesn't take away from Kawhi. But at the end of the day, it still shows you that, okay, this blueprint can work in terms of PG ball handling. They have the shooters all around, and then you make decisions based off of that, and PG's kind of the primary decision maker. Do they change it? That's the next question. If they change some things, maybe the Eric Bledsoe trade isn't as impactful and as vital as it should be, or as it would be. So, obviously, you have to wait on that. But, I like the move from the Clippers, man. I like the move from the Clippers a lot, like I told y'all. And, it was time. It was kind of it's unfortunate, because Pat Bev been, putting in work and been with that, with the Clippers for a minute. But you can kind of see that the writing was on the wall. You can kind of see it in terms of Pat Bev, because there was games that he wasn't able to play. There was games that he was in foul trouble, OD hella fast. There was games that his offense was hella fugazi, but his defense was right. There was never a full string with, kind of like Pat Bev just killing on all facets, all cylinders, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, man, you got to understand that, it was just a solid move and a great move for the Clippers. I actually didn't even expect that one, to be honest, right? So, I'm excited for the Clippers. I still think they're going to be favorites in the West. Don't let other factors or media or whatever the case, you know, taint or kind of just change your mind on any of that, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you understand what elite looks like, but bruh. You understand what elite looks like. You gotta understand that this trade obviously made sense. You know what I mean? I didn't see it coming, but it made sense. It looks like it's gonna be a great fit, and it just depends on how they kind of maneuver with this trade and with who goes where and whatever the case is. But again, like I said, Eric Bledsoe, I feel like he'll be more so looking like a Reggie Jackson type of player, and you could always add that, right? Now you have Reggie start or Eric Bledsoe start, don't matter. And then there's always one of them type of players at the point guard position in at all times, right? And obviously, again, like we said, they have to deal with this. He's probably gonna even rise his level of play because there's no Kawhi, so you got to get help from multiple, bodies, multiple people, and that's just how it works. But at the end of the day, it's what elite looks like, man. I appreciate y'all. You already know. I just appreciate the fact that the Clippers still at least try to do some move, even regardless if Kawhi was staying or not. And that's something that you always want to appreciate and be like, okay, they kind of self-assessing themselves. You know what I mean? They're self-reflecting. So that's obviously what elite looks like. You already know.